What is up, YouTube? We are back at the Ironhead once again. So last night where I left off, I got the whole primary side blasted apart, broke the oil lines free. I'm going to show you two methods. I'm going to pop these heads off. I'm not positive if I'm going to pull them all the way or just loosen them. Haven't decided yet. I might just pull the rear one. It's a huge pain in the ass, but I'll show you my least favorite thing about iron heads. And then essentially going to get the motor torn down and yanked out of here. I don't know if I'm going to blast the bottom half apart yet, but I will at least get the jugs and the heads, all the oil lines disconnected, and get that done tonight. Then basically another night of bottom end breakdown, box everything, then I can get it over to the shop, blast everything, and weld the cases up proper and fix a couple other repairs that I found along the way. Okay, so hopefully this mic stays working today. Had some issues with that in the past. As I said, I am going to pull the rear head off. 2 bolts down here underneath the frame that you can't get to. That should give me plenty of clearance. At that point, I'll probably take the front one off as well. However, on these crappy old iron heads, you have 2 bolts in here, 9/16. I don't actually know if my stubby wrenches will get in there, or something with the ratchet on it. Let's find out here. I don't think there's enough clearance. Oh, might actually get lucky. Still a huge pain in the ass. Can get to that one. I already broke these free, or the torque on them at least. But even with the ratchet, you really don't have a lot of give here. Eighth turn at a time. Alright, so I'm going to blast these apart. This will be a fast motion. It's like this for about 10 minutes. And that's what I was worried about. I've done this in the past too. But you can only go to a point before your wrench will get stuck, like I just did there. So this wrench lives here now until I get this other one off. It's the one issue with the ratcheting ones. Try and get this one loose as much as I can with my other ratcheting. I've done this probably 2 or 3 times, and I forget every time until I go to do it this way. Even if I get both of these stuck on here now, it's not that big of a deal. I can get to the other side. You'll have enough once you pop the other 2 free. That's about it. Alright, 2 maxed out bolts. So I'm going to break the other 2 free on this side now. These ones are accessible with a wrench. Impact is today. That. Now the head's free-ish. Oil line's already disconnected at the top. I'm going to leave the tube in at the bottom. That'll come out next. If the heads have been on for a while, it might be a little snug. Like so. Get my wrenches out first. Don't want to lose those. There we have it. Now is kind of the goofy part. Still have some threads left on here that I need to get out. threads left on this thing. It's unfortunate. The worst part about that is essentially what happens, if you're wondering why this is taking so long. I got the bolts free now. Once the bolts are free, you can get them out, but the problem you run into is, since the bolts come down from the top, they go through the head, and then if you don't have the threads all the way backed out, they still get caught in the grooves. So I lift the head up, and I'll either bottom out on the upper section of the bolt, or you can only get it up so far, and then you can't push it through forward and back with the head bolts still in. You gotta make sure that these are completely out, unfortunately, which sometimes involves a little bit of finesse, like so. Give me my wrench back, keep the washers with it, and there we go. Now, the head is free to come out. Drop the oil right here. Like so. Chamber doesn't look, a little bit of carbon on there. Some carbon in the exhaust. The intake port is incredibly clean. I'm really happy with that. Maybe I'll do a zoom in later. Could definitely use a little bit of port work, just some carbon. It looks like it was running a little on the rich side, but nothing too crazy. Rear is done and out. Not too bad. Like I said, intake side looks pretty good. Lots of carbon on the exhaust. Just black, doesn't really look like burning oil. Not covered in oil, not a big sloppy mess in there, so that's good. Just what I wanted to see, actually. Okay, front head. Not sure if I'm going to do it the same way on this one or not. I think I'm kind of leaning towards just ripping this one apart. I think I should have room to get to all of these ones, so it shouldn't be too bad. Drop this down and out of the way for now. Let that dangle. If I don't have to rewire the whole thing, we won't. Or maybe we will. Front one's way easier. Same thing here, just disconnecting the oil lines at the top. These will get replaced. Not the lines, but the fittings. And then grab your trusty dead blow. This is the one with the push rod that was still stuck, so I'm going to grab that first. Ooh, front cylinder does not look as happy as the rear. Doesn't look as that terrible, but not the pretty. Okay, I gotta do a voiceover on this. I know it's a little time-lapse now because none of the brand new microphone stuff that I just got that was working when I tested the auto actually worked. So I am removing, the heads are already off. I'm removing the cylinders from the bottom of the motor, which involves a 9/16 wrench or a 1/2 inch, depending on whether or not somebody has put aftermarket hardware into the cylinders. So in this scenario, hold on one sec. In this scenario, it's 9/16 on the bottom. There's not enough meat around the, well, not enough of a gap, rather, around the cylinders to put a ratcheting 9/16 on there to break these free. You also do not have room to get a socket in most scenarios. Luckily for me, in this case, there was enough room to put a 9/16 open end or standard box wrench, combination wrench, whatever you want to call it, around the bolts to pop them free. They weren't torqued down like crazy or anything like that. Now we're coming around to the other side to get the other ones. So basically I took them off on both sides. If you notice, I have acorn style nuts on this side. I had 2 non-acorn nuts on the other side. So there's 2 bolts that don't match from the set, Colony, or there's, I think, a couple other companies that make them that sell the base nuts for these. If you have an aftermarket one, it's most likely going to be a 1/2 inch drive. So grab a 1/2 inch open end wrench and spin them off 1/4 turn at a time. Luckily, once you break the torque, it's usually not too terrible to get them out by hand, which is what I'm doing here. The factory bolts would not have had an acorn or a closed top. It's more of an aesthetic. Once you pop the nuts free and the torque is loosened, you can usually unthread them by hand, so it's not that big of a deal. Then take a dead blow, love tap the fins. Do not go crazy. Do not beat on the corners. You will shatter or crack a fin. Even though it's cast iron, it will still snap. Here I'm just kind of looking over quick first glance at the piston because it's the first time I'm seeing it. Same thing on the rear. A couple love taps with a dead blow. Knock them free, break the gasket free, cylinders slide right off. Now we have pistons and jugs for further inspection. At this juncture, you will look further, investigate, make sure everything is spinning free, and go from there.